Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. This is the 249th episode and check this out. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the end of UHC Season 2. That's right, we won. I can't believe that. 2 in a row. That is absolutely amazing. And the whole UHC thing actually happened quite some time ago. You know, you record it and then it takes a while for all of the episodes to come out. But watching them recently as we got into the PvP, I've got to say, props to Justra. He was a great teammate, great to record with, but looking back at it, he was absolutely boss in the PvP, and he played a huge part in us winning that. But there you go, we got our apple. I'm going to give the other apples to everyone else, probably in the next episode. I'm not going to do it right now because we've got a load of things to do over here, and I've just finished coming back after doing the prank. That's right, we have new hermits on the server as well. There is a lot to talk about this episode. If you didn't see the prank, be sure to check that out. We have 2 new hermits on the server, Full Symmetry and Zul'jin. You can find their links in the description box down below. Be sure to go and check them out. They are awesome guys and friends of the server, and we recently invited them to join. But this episode, we are going to be working on that sugarcane farm, but I have some things to show you as well. Actually, I've got it in my inventory. It's not in the chest. This map right here. Oh, I've shown it. Well, I spoiled the surprise. It had been absolutely ages since we looked at a map of the wastelands, and I went round and I updated the entire thing, and this place looks amazing at night, and you may notice something a little bit different around here. I'll give you I'll give you a moment to try and guess if you know what it is, but take a look at this map. It is done, it is finished, the wastelands is over, and now we have this glorious map of a big square grey box to look at. It really does look silly, and I gotta say actually, I really like the way you can see the river in there. It was a long time ago we talked about that. I was going to flatten out the rivers or do something like that with them, and we decided to keep them in, and they look pretty cool on the map. But we are done with that. And the other thing that I've done around here as well is the beacons. You may have noticed that there are extra beacons in this area. The plan was to create a grid that was 4 by 4, and we only done the 4 in the middle originally. And then I got some time recently. You know, there was the UHC, there were the Q&A episodes, and it gave me some free time to go out there and install these beacons. So down there's some beacon rooms. They're all the same size and they're all equally positioned from one another. But if we go over to this side over here, and you have a look, you can see that on that side it looks like it's a little bit further away than on this side, and that's just a bit of an illusion. I actually got freaked out when I came up here. I looked over, it's the same on this side as well, and I was worried that we had built them out of place, but it's all exactly, you know, the right distance from one another. So in this massive area around here we now have all of those beacon effects, but it's just the ones in the corner that are left to do. We'll get round to doing that soon, I'm sure. But it was really fun to install those actually, and this thing is getting closer and closer to being done on the surface, and down below as well we have some work to do. And before we pop down there and start working on the sugarcane farm, I also started a new series yesterday, if everything went to plan, and that is a game called Faster Than Light, where I've had some free time lately. I've decided to take a break from playing Minecraft and play some other games and just have fun with something different, you know, have a little bit of a break, and I have really enjoyed this game called Faster Than Light. And if you want to check it out, as I said, the first episode should have come out yesterday. I'll put a link to that on the screen. Be sure to check it out. It is a very cool game, very well balanced and fun, but also very challenging. And I plan on recording a video and putting that out yesterday, because of course I record these a little bit in advance, as you know by now. You heard me talk about it time and time again. But the sugarcane farm, I think it's working. Look at that, it's full up, isn't it? Oh, and now I'm getting attacked. Let's kill this guy. There are just slimes everywhere down here. I need to like half slab this place or something. But yeah, the sugarcane farm is working. I think that is a good sign. The chest is full up, and we're going to be working on this episode. So I need to be refreshing myself with where we left off. There are some things that I wanted to do here, and also some things that I wanted to talk about as well. So I will get myself prepared, and we will start work on this in a moment. So we are going to be improving this sugarcane farm by adding 2 features. We're going to have a speed select, so you can choose how fast the sugarcane harvests, and also an optional override for the chests or the storage system. And this right here isn't the storage system. This is obviously temporary, but we will have a proper storage system, and when that thing gets filled up with sugarcane, it's then going to turn off the farm, which will be optional as well. But before we do that, I just want to explain quickly about the test that we did. I tested this at 3 different speeds, and all of them had the same results, and that caused some confusion in the comments. A lot of people understood why, but some people didn't. So let's say the sugarcane grows 1 every time we harvest it, like this. Then we're going to get 1 every time the piston extends and harvests the sugarcane. So if we increase the speed of the pistons, then it's not going to do anything because the sugarcane hasn't had time to grow back again. So we need to pace the amount of times this harvests around when the sugarcane grows. But the thing is, the second height of sugarcane generally just falls straight down onto here, so it's kind of not going to make the biggest difference. The difference that the speed is going to make that we harvest this thing at is basically just having a load of pistons and redstone activating in the world, which does cause a little bit of lag. You know, there is a tiny bit of stuttering when the game is doing that, so that's really the only advantage of having the speed settings. And yeah, and hopefully that made sense. I think I explained that well. So I'm going to start doing some redstone, and I'll be back with you when I built a little bit of that. So it's time for us to get fancy with our redstone. The whole time I've been building this, I've been thinking there has got to be an easier way to do this. And you know what, I think there is, but it would involve creating a custom contraption, and I just can't quite figure out in my mind what that would be. So we're kind of going ahead with doing things out of existing contraptions that I know how they work. That will probably make a lot more sense to you if you're familiar with redstone, because there's logic and there's contraptions. You know, you have a contraption to do one thing and you can combine it with another one and you get the result that you wanted. So instead of doing that, you would create your own thing that does it anyway. Hopefully that made sense, but probably not. And I also need to power this because that line is supposed to be powered, and you can hear all of those pistons activating. Let's do a quick run around the farm here because there is something that I wanted to show you, but it hasn't happened. Now sometimes the sugarcane actually comes out the back of here, and I just wanted to show you that on camera. I think it's when it grows too tall that it sometimes come out the back. So there's some too tall ones on that one. Let's just remove the torch here, that's keeping it all powered, and then power that back up again. There we go. Okay, so if we go around the back, are we going to have any sugarcane? There you go, look, some of the sugarcane comes out the back. Don't really know what to say about that. I might investigate that a little bit more and find out what's doing that, because we might be able to remove a couple of blocks, or more likely place them in certain places and stop that from happening. But there you go, sugarcane comes out the back of our farm. So let me explain what's going on here. I've removed the old timers, and we're going to power all of our pistons here on this block and that one over there. So that's going to send a signal upwards. That'll activate the pistons, and then a moment later it will go back to the other side. And yeah, this is all correct. So between this side and that side we used to have a timer, and that will now be one of these. So we've got 4 of them in a row. They're going to be 4 different settings, and let's say it's this one. You can see the output will go to that side, and then when it comes out the other side it's going to go round to this one here. So the clock that we have, it's always on, which is actually a little bit of a problem, because if we were to invert the output so that it was off, depending on when we stopped and started the clock, it could be that there were no items in one side of it, meaning the torch would turn on and give an output. So we would need something to intervene with the output to choose which output is coming from which clock. And the only way I could think of doing that really was with pistons, so it makes this whole kind of thing a little bit bulky, and then we're going to have a bunch of redstone up the top here that we power to control this. So at the moment all of them are active, and if we have power sources at the top, let me just put in some torches. This will be a much better way of demonstrating this for you. So I'll have one there, and oh, that's the only torch I've got. Brilliant. Let's craft a few more. There we go. And I also need some blocks there, so let's put that there. Let's take back that block and put another one there. So this is how it will be normally. That's another thing I've got to consider. The signals going into this need to be powered, and these ones right here won't be active, and on the other side as well. So the next thing, or not, why is that not? That's a bit odd. Let's just jump up here. Okay, so apparently there's a couple of pieces of redstone missing, so if we put that down there and there, don't know how that happened, then you can see that these clocks are no longer going to power the signal on the outside. So we're only ever going to have one of these unpowered at a time, and we're going to build a selector panel somewhere over here. I've got to start figuring out the aesthetics of this area next, because when we build that selector panel it's going to be a part of that, and then whatever option we choose on the panel, it's going to organize these wires at the top, and then that means that the 4 clocks that we always have running, only one of them is going to be selected, and that'll be the one that's like this, and then the signal will come through and go through to the outside. and it is quite overcomplicated, isn't it? And I'm going to try and put a little bit of thought into a contraption, if I have the time, that will do this without all of this complication right here, because it might be possible to create a clock that, let's say, has 4 outputs, and they're all on different timers, and then it ignores some of them. I don't know, I'll look into that later. But we have to start work on the aesthetics now, because I need to figure out where our storage is going to go, because I've got to figure out where the selector panel is, and I'm probably going to put them near each other, and we can start designing the room at the front of this. But the room itself, I'm not sure how big it's actually going to be, because we've got to consider that there's going to be a staircase leading up here, and that we're probably going to have another one of those corridors, and then you'd turn to the right, and then you'd have all of this. So the last few pieces of redstone have been placed down in what I'm calling spaghetti wiring. I kind of know why I avoid doing projects like this. I really don't like spaghetti wiring. I like things to be compact and smart, and redstone takes me a lot of time when I do it in my episodes, and I think it's because I'm always trying to think about the most compact way to do that, and we've resisted that today. I've decided just to keep things straightforward because I couldn't think of something more compact, and we've ended up with some spaghetti wiring here. Now this thing is a... what would you call it? I've got it on my other screen. Let me just bring that up. It is a tileable selection panel. I'll put a link to that in the description box. It is a tutorial I made 11 months ago for one of these, and it still works, which is fantastic. But if we come around to the front here, I have used gold ore simply because I had some in my inventory. We're probably going to change that. And what you do is you just click on a button and it changes over to the other one. It also blinks as well, which is pretty cool. But if we press one of the ones in the middle or that one on that side, it doesn't work, and that's because I think the spaghetti wiring is actually bub powering some of these droppers at the back. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to fix that. But this spaghetti wiring, it does just take up a lot of space, and one of the things I didn't think about too much was the output for this thing right here. Now what we could have done is mirrored the dropper mechanism, which is like a T flip-flop. We could have put that on the other side over here and then had our outputs at the back, but I decided just to take it from the front. So the outputs are those torches right there, right here at the front, and because they're all right next to each other, it means we have to get clever with where we put the different redstones. So we've taken it from that block there, which means we can't put another redstone wire next to it because then they will connect. So that's why it goes all over the place like this. So if we have a look, when this redstone here is powered, I think it might be bub powering that. That's definitely bub powering the one below, and also the one to the side of it as well, which isn't good. So I'm going to have to change up some of the redstone here, which looks like it's actually going to be a fair bit of a challenge. Oh dear, what have I gotten myself into? I think I can actually make this work. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can make that work. We'll figure that out in a moment. So let's not forget to talk about the aesthetics here at the front as well. I spent quite some time playing around with a few different materials, and I couldn't really find anything that really kind of jumped out on me, so we're probably going to do something fairly simple and straightforward using these stone slabs. But originally they were back like over here, so they were back by one block, and that meant the pistons stuck out, which originally I tried to work with and do something with that, but it didn't really look that great, so I decided to move it back by one. So the stone bricks here at the front are going to be too thick, and we're probably going to have a big too thick glass frame thing, window, that's the word, going all the way up to the top. So what I want to do with the roof of this room is have it slope quite steep, I'd say more than 45 degrees, going all the way up somewhere, not to the top, but somewhere up there, so you can see a big view into the farm, which I think is going to look really cool. The floor height is also going to be up by one block as well. I was just playing around with the trim on the outside. I think we're probably going to go with birch on the inside, maybe throw in some stone bricks and make a pattern as well, and then somewhere back here will be the entrance of the rooms. So if we just place a couple more of these, we're going to have 3 of them again, and then we'll have our wall offset by 1. So we'll just use stone bricks for this. So that's going to be the wall, and that means that this is the entrance, and wow, that is actually really close. I think with this corridor we're going to basically be making a very narrow kind of walk-through one, if that makes sense. Hopefully that does. But the ceiling height will start, let's see, the height of the room is going to be about there, and it's probably going to start just back here, and then it's going to slope up all the way up to the top. So that's going to take a fair bit of building to do. And before we do that, I was thinking I never do redstone on camera, and I'm pretty sure that this won't take long to fix here, so I'll try and do that quickly. It might take a little longer than I'm thinking. So I'm pretty sure that this piece of redstone here is budding that one, so what we would do is simply take it around the side. So we're going to have a new track of redstone going across here. I'll replace that with the proper materials when it comes to it. I don't think anything is budding that one, except maybe that at a diagonal, so something's got to change here. We need to get this signal coming out somewhere different, and I thought I had a solution for that. Let me think for a second. So I'm going to have to take a break from doing this, because I think the only solution here is actually to come up with a different selector panel, or to mirror the outputs on the back. That might help. In fact, what we could do is just mirror it for this one right here, which is a problem because when the redstone goes this low down, it's already budding that one, and I think these two positions both bud that dispenser right there. So the only other place we can pull the output from is on top or at the front here, and we can't do it at the front because that's going to be part of the wall, I do believe, going around here. Maybe it won't, but I'm pretty sure it will. Another idea would be to use repeaters, so we would have to pull the signal from the block using that, and that's only going to drive it into the same position again. You're either going to power this block or the one behind it, which will then power the redstone down below, so we can't do that. And another solution would be to use pistons. You could move a cauldron and then have a comparator somewhere, but that would create noise. And so at the moment I think I'm just going to give myself some time to think about this. We will now focus on the aesthetics here at the front and come back to the redstone later. So good news, I have solved our problem with the redstone. I decided to move all of this forward by one block, and it made the front here look a little bit nicer. Now before we had 2 blocks of width on the side and 2 blocks here. I've lowered that by 1 and it looks a little bit neater, but it also gave us more space behind here for the redstone. So if we go around and have a look, now the wall used to be here, so what we've done is added some repeaters and redstone to send the signal back, and then at the top here the comparator now points into a repeater, and that gave us a tiny bit more wiggle room to then go in and sort out the redstone. So let's just have a quick look up the top here. You can see it looks a little bit different, but now nothing buds those droppers right there, and you can see that because there's nothing close to it. And I've just finished testing all of the different selections and everything's wired up correctly. So while I'm doing the building, I'm actually going to do that test as well and start testing these clocks around the back here and making sure that everything works. But we are certainly getting there. I've got a truck on doing some testing and building, and I'll be back with you in a bit. So I've been doing some testing and this appears to work just fine. I also managed to start all of these at the same time. So this one here at the front has 1 stack, 2 stacks, 3 stacks and 4. So they all kind of go off at a similar time. And I imagine as time goes on there'll be little things that will throw them out of sync, but that's a nice little thing right there. And I'm also thinking that maybe when you change over from one to the other, based on how the redstone is going to change over, it might actually cause it to harvest. So that's a little test that I want to do right here. You can see it's been working. There's sugarcane falling down. So if we press this button, let's see if the pistons change. Yes, they do. And I've got a feeling that is going to happen every time you change this thing over. And that's interesting. A load of sugarcane just fell from that side. And we've got a bat in there as well. Awesome. I'm going to have to investigate that a little bit because a lot of sugarcane fell from the right side there. But the reason it happens is because when, is it this one that's on at the moment, when that one gets powered, that's going to go down, so this signal's going to turn off, and then one of these is going to turn on, and that's the order in which things happen. If it happened the other way around, let's say this one got pulled up first, then a signal would go into here when it's already powered, and so it wouldn't do anything. But I think it's actually cool like that, because it means when you change it, it'll also do a harvest. So let's say for some reason you come here, it's empty, and you really need some sugarcane, then all you got to do is press the button, and then it's going to harvest. And I've also got to put down some signs and label this. But let's have a look at the room here. Doesn't look that great. To be honest, I've not really got a lot of ideas for this room, not really got the inspiration right now. But one thing that I do want to do is just push this wall here back a little bit. I quite liked it when we just had this one half slab what would you call it? I don't know, just the one half slab thing going across, and I thought it might look good if we push that wall back and have some more stone bricks up there. However, on this side there's a whole bunch of redstone, so that might not be possible. The slope of the roof I think is okay, but I would actually like it to be a fair bit steeper so we can look up into this room here, and so I'm going to do that next, and then if I like it we're going to put in the glass, which I might do stained, but I'll probably do normal. And another idea I've had is to put a sky lamp in here, or a hole basically to the sky, so we get rid of the void fog. So we could put it right in the middle at the top there. You probably wouldn't be able to see it, and then when you walk into this room you wouldn't get all of that greyness going on there. And you can see as you walk in, because we've got other sky lamps in the area, it means it kind of appears and disappears, and actually having it in there is probably going to be a good thing. Now the last thing that I want to talk about is the floor here. Oh, by the way, I've also put the chests in, but I haven't actually hooked that up to the storage yet. But this bit right here, I've been thinking that what I'd actually like to do is have a glass floor with some sort of mini sugarcane farm down there. You know, maybe something just aesthetic, like a little tropical area, or just an actual farm layout. You know, I can't really describe it, where you have it in a grid and you go down and harvest it manually. But I haven't made up my mind up on that just yet, but we'll probably do something like that in the middle. That is my plan. The next thing we're going to do is redo the roof and try and get this room finished. So that looks a little bit better. I think it'll look nicer when we get that sky lamp in. We will definitely do that next. And this isn't the most exciting of rooms, I know. Sometimes you don't always hit it with the building, but I definitely think it looks better with the roof slope like that. And it looks a little bit strange where it goes around the corners, so I might change something to do with that. But I've just finished doing this bit at the front, and before I put in the glass, I think what I'm going to do is have it so you have this border here at the top. So you'll see a row of stone bricks going across the top, and then that will just flatten out a little bit sooner so we can see that. And then I think this room will be pretty much done. There's not much else we need to do in here. So we've got the sky lamp, we've got to put in the glass, we've also got to do the floor, so this room is actually not really that close to being done, is it? But I'm also going to do the chests over this side next as well, so we're going to hook that up with some automation. That'll be really simple. We're going to redirect the drops from the farm out the back here, and then we're going to build an item elevator to send them up, and then put them into a water stream which is going to go across the top of these hoppers. And then the last chest to fully fill up, well actually no, the last thing to fully fill up will be this hopper right here. And if we put a comparator on it, so we have a comparator, you know, bringing a signal out, although probably it's going to pull from behind a block because we're going to put some blocks around the outside here so that you can't see all of these gaps and things just between the chests, which does look a little bit messy, and if you put some blocks back there it'll look a little bit nicer. So with a little bit of redstone we can make a comparator here that only turns on when the hopper behind it is full. Now when we take items out of the storage, it's not going to detect that unless we take it from this chest here. So I'd like it so as soon as we take out items, it's going to know that. And the way it works at the moment, the one at the back could fill up and we could take out items from a chest before it, like over on the other side, and that signal would stay on. So I might have to redo the way I do the chests here. There might not even be a solution to that, but I'll definitely look into it. But in that case, when the hopper is full up, it's going to give us a signal, and then when the hopper starts emptying again, that signal is going to turn off. So the signal, I was originally going to power all 4 of these circuits up the top here, which would cause all the pistons down below to extend, and then for all of these clocks to be ignored. But we actually rely on the output of those clocks to power the farm, because by default the pistons are not extended, which allows the sugarcane to grow, and that means that this circuit right here is on. So what we would actually do with that signal back there is just power this one here, and it means our clocks would still be running, but when they turn off for a moment, which is how we activate the farm, then it wouldn't make any difference. And it's all signal management. I do like it. It's a little bit interesting how that works, you know, particular things being on and off and how you manage that. That'll probably make a little more sense if you're used to Redstone. If not, I'm probably talking gibberish. But there are not many more things to do. I'm going to focus on this storage thing. Hopefully we will find a solution for that, and I will be back with you in probably a second. So I found us some diamonds. Awesome. The whole time I've been digging and working around down here. Maybe not so much on this project, but in general it's nice to find the occasional diamonds. So take a guess at how many we're going to get, and I will just dig these away. It looks like 5 diamond ore in total, and we have gotten ourselves 12 diamonds. That is a nice little treat while we're doing all of this. And at the moment, if you're wondering, I'm just redirecting the water stream. We're going to have our item elevator, and it's going to send items up to the top here. Do you know what? I have missed doing a project like this where there is so much redstone involved. It is really fun having loads of little redstone projects just to put together to make things happen. And this was just supposed to be a simple sugarcane farm, and it has become a lot more elaborate, and I need to patch that back up, which is something I forgot to do. I'll do that in a moment. And it's been very enjoyable. But the glass is now in place, so is our skylight. You can see that as you walk up to it, it kind of changes, which looks pretty cool. But actually I think it would have looked alright without it as well, because you would have had that darkness up there and it kind of looks a little bit more mysterious. I don't know, either way I think that would have worked, so we'll leave it in there for now. Then what I've been doing is installing the item dropper. So we've redirected the water stream over here, items are going to go into the hopper and go into the droppers, which are all facing upwards, and then this is going to create a clock when there's items in the bottom here, and this means that some items I do believe would be left in these droppers. There you go, there was one there, and that seems right. I remember doing one of these before, and the higher up you go, I think it would be every other one where there's a torch on the side, you would have one item left over in, which isn't a problem because it's, you know, sugarcane, it's not diamonds or anything like that. So then those items go across a water stream, and then they go over the top of all of these hoppers, which are then going to fill up the chests in front of them. Now, as all of those fill up, and the items kind of make their way backwards as the whole thing gets filled up, they're going to go into this hopper here. So I actually managed to fix that problem just by adding this extra row of hoppers across the top. So when that one fills up fully, and you can't quite see this, let me just grab some cobblestone and we will pop upwards. And when that one is full up fully, then the signal here will, it's in subtract mode. So if you know how that works, you've got a full strength signal here on the side, so you're only going to get an output once that thing is full. And I've got a feeling that I'm actually supposed to have a repeater right here. So that is something that I will need to check. I'll obviously do that in a moment. But that signal will then go down here, go all the way across there. So then we have to run all the way around the outside here to see it on the other side. It's going to come out the bottom there, and it's going to point into this. So it's going to keep that powered when the whole thing is full. And then it goes over to this side, and it will keep this powered as well, which means none of the pistons will activate whatever these clocks are doing. And it looks like these things are still in sync. Actually, you can only really tell when one of them moves over, like that. And then if we see two at the time, no, okay, they're out of sync. Never mind. We are certainly getting there, and do you know what? I'm running out of time as well to play, so I think I might leave this bit down here for another day. So if you have any ideas for what you want to see down below here, I'm thinking glass over the floor and then some sort of sugarcane oasis or a farm down below. But if you have any ideas or suggestions, then leave them in the comment box. And the same thing goes for this room as well. I am aware that it is fairly bland and could do with something to spice it up, so any suggestions you have, please do leave them below. But we have a couple more things to do here before we're done, so I will get on with those. So I decided to double check the comparator thing, and I was going mad. I couldn't figure out why this wasn't working, and then I realised, of course, we don't need it in subtract mode, we need it in the regular mode like this. So when we have a stronger signal coming in from the side, it's going to override this. So when our hopper behind the comparator is full, it's going to be like the signal strength is here, and then the output is going to turn on. So I have gone and changed that comparator, and also I put some blocks around the back of these chests, so that's nice and tidy. And I've been tidying up a few other things, you know, putting down extra torches, doing bits and bobs. And in the middle of this room I've also put down some temporary half slabs. Just while we were going to leave it, I thought it'd be a good idea to get that floor filled in, and it actually looks pretty nice. And this room, I'm definitely happy with it. It is not particularly interesting, but it's definitely functional, and it has a nice kind of feel to it with this sloped roof going up and the big window. I certainly like that, and I've got to say I'm thinking about removing that sky lamp now, because I kind of like how you have the darkness coming down from the top like that. But let me know what you think of that. Leave a comment. Should we keep it or should we remove it? My vote right now would actually be to remove it. I like the way it's a little bit dark at the top here, although when you move to it, it looks pretty cool as well. But leave a comment, take a vote, and we'll change that in the next episode, or whenever we next come back to this, because who knows what we're going to be doing in the next episode. So that is going to be it for this one. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like. It will always be appreciated. I really enjoyed doing all of that redstone down there. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And if you're looking for something to do, there's a whole bunch of stuff we mentioned earlier in the video. For example, UHC. If you haven't seen the last episode, be sure to go and check that out. And also we have 2 new hermits on the server, Full Symmetry and Zul'jin. You can find their links in the description box down below. Be sure to go and check them out and welcome them to Hermitcraft. But that is going to be it from me this episode. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. You know, uh-oh. There's now a minecart train on your track. There's just a random netherrack block here, and now... Oh, no, hello. What's this guy doing?
What?
You've got a zombie in the middle of your track who's just looking at me like...
Oh, yeah,
hello.
don't touch him. He's cool. He's cool.
Okay. Oh, he's standing on tracks. That's why he's confused. Because they're not allowed to walk across tracks.
Are you recording right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then never mind.
Alright, okay. Did you put him there on purpose?
I was gonna let you in on a little secret, but it's got to stay super secret.
Okay, okay.